They try to drown me, I can swim upstream so profoundly. I can stay calm in a dire situation. I'm at it every day, no time for a vacation. And I smell blood in the water. Everything I do, yeah, I do it for my daughters. Now I'm gonna shut your lips. It's time for a brand new episode of what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, said it's time for a brand new episode of Talking Jit.
Tias.
Honest, brother. How you doing?
Good, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How do I sound? Is my background loud?
I can hear the background a little bit.
Okay, hold on one second. What about now?
I think we're good.
Oh, okay. How you doing, brother?
I'll let you know if it gets crazy.
Okay.
How you been?
Man, I've been good, man. I've just been, working on music, living life, growing every day, same. What about
Yeah,
you?
it seems like you're making a lot of progress.
Oh, thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
You got your videos in order and stuff. You got like some good content coming out. And most of all, bro, you're just different. Just a different type of artist, and I like it.
Thank you, bro. You always been riding with me, since like just early in my early days and stuff like that. And speaking of video, I got a video shoot today at like 5, like around like I think it's around 5:30, 6:30
Oh,
today.
nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember you got a hold up real quick. You got a lot of echo back in the background.
Okay. Hold on.
I noticed is like for people listening, you're I don't know, you want to do your introduction? I don't want to sell you wrong, bro, but basically just a rap artist, but down to earth, super cool dude, man. And he's got a really unique style of thinking. Like not a lot of people think like you do, or kind of like look at the world like you do, you know?
Yeah, it's like I feel like I was sometimes I feel like it's the Truman Show. Cause I be just noticing, I'm like a stickler for details of things. So I just observe really good. I be just observing the craziest things, and I'm just like, what about that? And then sometimes I notice that observation goes unnoticed to a lot of people, and I feel like I'm just constantly going through a sense of awareness, constantly having eureka moments where things just add up and make sense. It's like a puzzle. And then, at first the pieces you can't see, then you put them together, and then you start to see the whole picture of what you putting together. So yeah, and then like as far as like the music, honestly, the music has been like a big motivation for me to really like find myself or even like learn more things to have my way of thinking. It's just constantly, I think once I became aware of myself, I became, just to make a mental note, like it was through the music that led me to that type of awareness of myself. So from there, there's just like this relationship that I have with art and creating music. And I just want to express myself in my fullest capacity. And there's no better place to do it than through hip hop.
Yeah, and you, like I said earlier, I mean, I feel like everyone thinks they have a unique style, but you truly do. Like you, I was explaining to my dad earlier. He's like, "Who are you talking to today?" And I was like, "Well, I got my boy Tias coming on. Known him for a while, but he's like a rapper, but he's also kind of like metaphysical. He's got like a chill vibe, and it's like a lot deeper than just like normal street stuff and the normal vibe you get. It's not like cookie cutter. It's like,
Mm.
in my opinion, I feel like people have to check you out in order to kind of get like a good idea of what your style is,
Right, right. I feel like I leave the key words in things that make you question, or it could be something that you already was questioning and you just didn't have it formulated like that to look at it. So it's like I'm constantly trying to really just express the experience that we already having. Because how I look at it, like you're right, there is a metaphysical nature to my music, and that's why. And even like that, I even like that name better than necessarily conscious. Because a lot of people say I'm a conscious artist, but conscious is just to be aware. So you could be conscious of a lot of things,
Right.
or you could be you know what I'm saying. So, but as a metaphysical artist, I try to express that underlying spiritual reality of everything that's already going on. Because, in the Western world, we kind of were taught to like brush things off as coincidences. And, that's because of like the program, the indoctrination. So anything that we think about that like goes beyond our limitations or what we consider the norm, we have this reference point in our consciousness, like in a movie or something. So then we classify it into the that's fiction, this is real. And then some of us, because we are turned off or we don't have this awareness, we tend to because we're very self-centered, not like self-centered in a always in a negative way, but we're literally like we're POV first player in it. So like
Yes.
you think, hey man, if I couldn't see how that is going on, that can't be going on. So obviously crazy. So we go through a lot of situations of what we might brush off as coincidences, but if we actually took a look at it, we can find that like, especially in a reality like this, in a place where like there's laws, not necessarily laws of legality, but like universal laws, right? So that means there's divine order. And so just off of when you look at the macro and how there's divine order, then you can't then you notice that there is no coincidences because it's all in point. So when you going through something in like in this urban environment of United States, you don't get the like really like tally those things up because some people they have special abilities, not necessarily like X-Men, right? But they have higher senses, they can smell things. Some people can can hear colors, even though we see colors, some people can hear colors, some people can taste words. So it's like those are like abilities that have been honed through like generations and generations of your family existence here because we're the apex of evolution. Like you get all the animals and then you put them in us and then we can the fox can't be a dog.
Yeah.
A human can be a bird. The human can think he a bird, but you ain't gonna see no cow acting like a gorilla. You
Yes.
see?
Yeah.
So it just shows you like our freedom even within our limitations.
Yeah. And kind of like you're talking about the system or being like systematized, even like where we are, we're kind of like a hub, like we're kind of like the like America is kind of like the hub of many things. So we standardize a lot. And by standardizing a lot, I feel like we end up all kind of like cookie cuttering things. I don't know, that's the best way I can explain it. Like you're supposed to get up, go to a 9 to 5, you know, live live this certain lifestyle. There's not like a lot of artistic freedom in a normal day-to-day routine unless you are like a odd man out or you're like kind of like the dark sheep in a group. Is, am I making sense with that? Are you seeing where I'm
Yeah,
going?
yeah, you
Like,
definitely making sense because it's like when this country was formed, or when this country started to really want to open up to foreign export, or to really like do its whole empire global takeover thing on the low and up front, right? When they tried to do that, so what they promised to other countries is that us as Americans will buy it, literally. So they condition us to be in a position to where we're over consuming or we just want to consume at a high rate. Americans probably consume at the highest rate out of any other country. So if you have it, and let's say, the other country, they sell it for like 30 cents, we'll take it. we'll sell it to them for $5.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So as what we promise to these other leaders is that we'll buy your resources and we'll develop a people who will be the master consumers. So everything is a part of that. And then that's what the whole hope is of the illusion of other countries when they're like, oh man, we can just get in America, we can do this and we can do that. It's because they want to bring you here. And then once you're here, you usually see it take about, I would say 1 to maybe 3 to 4 generations, maybe 2. Yeah, the way it's going now, it's not even won't even be long. So it'll be like 2 now, but it used to be like 3 to 4. But they'll take the first generation, it will still it'll get stripped of its culture slowly, but not enough to where you'll recognize. Like they might not never pick up the English language, that first generation, but their child will. So
Mm.
after 2 to 3 generations, they're stripped of their culture. And once you strip a person of their culture, they become vulnerable. So once they become vulnerable, then they start looking for culture. Look at us. We're always looking for this or expressing. Look at all the different type of movements. Whatever I'm a this now, or I'm joining this, or look at me, I'm this. So they strip us of our culture, leaving us cultureless. So then they can sell us things. Because now we got to buy stuff. We got to get the products. We got to get the food. We got to get the clothes. So
Yeah.
it's all design.
Yeah. I remember when I met you. How long have we known each other now? I was trying to
I
think of
was
that.
like 5 years, like probably 5.
Yeah, that's the
That's
number that was in my head too. Holy shit. Time
yeah,
flies.
it's 5. Yeah.
But remember, and by the way, I still got your shoes. They haven't gone
Oh
anywhere. They're still.
man, I already know, brother. I can't wait to see them when I get them. I still got the jacket, bro. That's my classic. That's going in my life. You know, you go in the Hall of Famer basketball player. He got all these different jerseys hung up.
Oh yeah.
That's going in my Hall of Fame room.
Oh, that's
Glass
dope.
it. I'm gonna put it up.
That's an honor. Yeah, but I remember you had these like Jordans and shit that you showed me, and I'm like, damn. And you're like, bro, I found them at Plato's Closet. He's like, I'm not gonna go out and buy brand new Jordans. Someone already wore them. I'm not gonna support. I remember you like that was like one of the first things you said to me, and I was like, damn, like he's make a lot of sense. Or most people would go out and buy like the brand new Jordans off the shelf, pay outrageous fee. You're like, man, I'll recycle them. Like I can still
Yeah,
find nice shoes that have been worn and you know not
you gotta have your own eye for quality.
yeah
You know what I'm saying? Brand new has a feel that comes with it, but some things don't need to be brand new. In fact, some things, if they're like, I just was watching on Instagram today, they was talking about these work jackets that, they're very stylish, but like the dude basically saying you want to buy those used because most of the people, 'cause when you get it, it's so like tough. It's not even broken in. So, and
right
so usually a person who usually used to wear them, because it's like a vintage jacket, who used to wear them, they will be working in them, so it'll be broken in. So you get somebody who worn it maybe for a couple winters, and then you buy from them. It's perfect for you.
yeah and I think that's a great outlook because a lot of people get stuck in the same system we're kind of talking about so far where they feel like they have to get it brand new. It has to have tags on it. You know what I mean? And I kind of like doing that with the shoes too. Like I like taking old beat up shoes and painting them and making them look like either like customized or a one of one. But I like the like beat up look. It adds character to shit, you know?
That's the craftsmanship of what you got. You got that craft eye, and
Yeah.
it's you see like it's about like even when you look at the stuff that we used to wear, the longevity of it was way longer. Products like we still pimping out cars from the 70s and 80s. You ain't really seeing nobody take a 2008 Kia Spectra and they're like, man, I'm about to make this. I'm about to clean this up. I'm gonna just sit it down. I ain't gonna drive it. I mean, in 20 more years, 30, even maybe 10, they will. But you see with them Camaros, them Chevys, you drop tops, you take one, it could be in the worst condition. They be beat up. They be in somebody's garage, not be somebody's backyard, flat tires, everything, no engine. You take it, pimp it out, and
Oh
then
yeah.
it come back clean and it's prestigious because some of those things were built to last. And I just know these companies and they like,
Now
how can we
we're gonna put a new
make it?
product out next week.
Yeah, Yeah, so we don't want those to last. We want to start. We want a time estimate on how long those last.
Yeah,
And I'm not playing those games with people.
like
No,
the
not me.
fucking iPhone, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Every 2 years, all of a sudden, shit just starts going downhill on my iPhone.
I watched the video and it was like for the last like 10 years and they was doing, when they got the new iPhone, they do the little kind of this is the iPhone 15. And the dude kept saying by far the greatest he kept saying the same
Oh,
thing for the last 10 to 12 years.
yeah, it showed every iPhone from like the iPhone 3 all the way up to the 15, and his presentation was the same thing, word for word. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
That had me cracking up too. I'm
I
like,
ain't judging nobody, but those are clearly NPC crowds. So who goes to that?
yeah, for real. I never really thought of that either. Like, who the fuck buys a ticket to go sit down and watch them announce the new shit?
Yeah, yeah. Who cares? I'll get it when it come out.
Yeah, it's gonna be all
Like,
over the internet anyway.
yeah, so it's other tech, other designers, other is their little group, or at least their I don't know, because I ain't invited, but I would if I was invited. I'm like, bro, I'm not about to go watch this phone,
Right.
but whatever.
So,
That's just me
so
personally.
tell me about some of your experiences, man, because you've shared like some of the experiences you've had, um, like not only through like music, because you've had a lot of experiences through music that I want to talk about at some point. Because I remember when you got like, someone fucked you over a video, like you're supposed to have someone make a video, and they're giving you a bunch of shit, and then also, you you're telling me about some of your like, what do you call them, like I don't know, just like your spiritual experiences and stuff. Kind of
Okay,
eye-opening times.
okay, I got you. So, would you prefer to hear about that story with the videographer first, or my spiritual experience?
Let's go spiritual experience first. We'll get
Okay,
that videographer
so
is like a punk.
So, what I've noticed after like several different so-called spiritual experiences is that like I've had several spiritual experiences. Like really, because when you think about spiritual, what is it? Like that's the whole trick about like this English language that we use. It just falls short to really express fully. It really brings conflict because it's like just of how it's just hard to fully express. So, because technically everything is spiritual. So, what I've noticed now that I've had several spiritual experiences, I just brushed it off, or which became either uh, had a very euphoric experience of it, or I became traumatized from it. Right. But
Right.
just one of my, I would say, my spiritual experiences that aligned it with me making music. So even before I made music, I played football. I played for Pinellas Park High School. I was number four. I played fullback. We ran a wing tee. I was just normal average high school kid. Just really just wanting. It was cushion orange shoes days. Wiz Khalifa was
Oh
out.
shit.
You feel me?
Yes.
Get your Chuck tees, camo shorts. You just trying to find a party to roll up and drink full locals, being wild, right? So
Yeah.
even then, I always had like this kind of understanding of religion because when I was I would say this, I'm gonna build with you. Ride with me though, okay?
Okay.
So when I was in the fourth grade, I had got this book. It was Greek gods, mythology, and stuff like that. It was like I'm like, oh snap. But the only reason, first of all, this was a school in Georgia, like and their libraries are very old. Like so you might find a book that meant to be in high school there. It shouldn't even be there, but it's there, right?
Hmm.
So I found this book only because I watched Hercules. You see? So I was like, oh, this will who Hercules come from because I remember the people, right? So I get this book, but now this book is not Disney. So off
Oh,
rip Jesus, I mean off rip Jesus Zeus. Off rip Zeus is one. He suffered from first of all a cannibalistic dad, a dad that tried to eat him. And then on top of that, he just was doing wild stuff, from sacrifice, from rape, from creating people, for just doing all the wildest stuff. And I'm just taking all this in. But I'm just like, at the end of the book, and once I learned about all of the stuff about it, as much as a fourth grader could take in. I'm like, but I'm just like, man, they believe all this. I'm like, whoever believe in like Zeus or Apollo, whatever, Jupiter, whatever you want to call them, they tend to like to
The
switch the name but be the
the
same
Greek
people.
mythology.
Right, right. So I'm like, whatever they believe, this is what they believe. But I was raised Christian. So I'm like, okay, but if they believe that's the truth, and I believe this the truth, which one of us is lying? And then so from that, I went home, and then I asked the adults around me. I'm like, man, I read this book in class. I mean, I read it. I was reading it at home because it was very vulgar. Because it shouldn't have been at school, but that look here, like, ooh, they doing bad things, making people, say all kind of shit, right? So I'm
Yeah.
reading it, so I'm like, who's lying? And when I brought that to the people around me, they just brushed it off. So from that moment on, it kind of really detached me from religion. And I started to like just really go on my own journey of like reading different religions. So when I got to high school, I was already like kind of like not a very I wasn't programmed into, let's say, the religion. So I had a free mind. So I was already thinking there was out aliens. I started to investigate a lot of stuff. I became a deep reader. So once I graduated from high school, I didn't go play football. 5, I'm short. My coach was realistic about the situation. I was good. I could have went D3, but I got hurt in my 12th grade year. And it just, when I sat down, it made me realize that wasn't something I wanted to do. So I used to play with rapping. I used to freestyle with my friend CJ. He was a rapper's rapper. He like to this day, you take who you think the best or who you like here in the city, and you want to put him up somebody, I put my money on CJ all day. So he taught me how to rap. So when I graduated, I didn't go nowhere. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. Had a girlfriend, I was in love. Then we broke up. I felt devastated. And I got to a point where I was really like, what is life? Like, fuck all this. I didn't have really a good relationship with my mom. So I was just like, nothing matters. So I started to do all kind of different things. I used to take MMDA. I used to take different drugs, but it was really like ecstasy, MMDA. But then I would stop. And then one time I went to my friend, and he was like, "Bro, can I have some?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You want to buy it?" He was like, "Yeah, but I ain't got no money." He was like, "I'll trade you these mushrooms." And I was like, "Mushrooms?" Because at the time, shit, I'm black, right? I'm like, at the time. Now everybody,
It's not a
you
hood
know.
drug.
Yeah, yeah. You like, man, that's like crazy white boy shit. I'm not
Yeah.
doing that, right? But I was like, fuck it, let me take it. So I took them, didn't do them. And I remember the exact day. It was March 8th, 2013. I had took them with my friends, and we just was like sitting there. We took a lot too, and we just was sitting there because we didn't know how many, what you're supposed to take. Now I know because now I'm a psychic. Now I'll grow them if I have to, right? So I know now. But then I'm just like, ugh, this nasty. Let's eat them. And we just was chilling, listening to music, watching music videos, watching Animal Planet. It's just that it broke the layers in my mind of what I thought how things were, because I was able to comprehend things faster. I was able to have like deep understanding and emotional
So
feeling, and then even the stress that I went through, like with my breakup, I found answers to that, and it healed that, and it made me question everything. I'm just like, man,
was
in
it
my
what you
mind,
expected when you started like when you took it and you started feeling it? Was it what you expected? Did you have any anxiety at first, or did you just go with it the whole time? Or
well, you gotta remember, like I was in the state of mind that I was in. I was like nothing. I was like very nihilism. Like I didn't
were,
believe anything. I gave
were,
up.
were you like
So
self-destructive kind of, or
it's not necessarily self-destructive, like trying to hurt myself, but I didn't think nothing of death at that moment. Like at that time in my life, I wasn't really afraid of everything going wrong because I felt like everything
yeah,
already went wrong.
yeah, I've been there, man. That's why I was like, that's why I'm kind of wondering. I've had a experiences myself where like I'm like, let me know if you relate, like where you're at like an all-time low. Um, you kind of feel like you're in the dark, or like,
Yeah,
and
felt
therefore,
like a vampire, bro.
yeah, like, and therefore you don't really fear death. You don't really fear anything. You're just kind of like, it is what it is.
Yeah,
Like,
I was hanging with people. I feel like I shouldn't have been. I was hanging with an older dude who like he knew I kind of liked music, but I wasn't really good. So instead of telling me I wasn't good, he just was like, "Hey, I need you to do these stuff with me, and I'm gonna get you in the studio." So I'm like, I'm at his drug hotel, sitting there for him. I'm in the worst position. I'm just doing whatever he tell me because he had money, he had a Mercedes, he was gonna put me in the studio. So I was really, I would say, on the dark night of my soul. And so when the scientists say that psilocybin can help with depression,
mhm.
darkness, they ain't lying. I mean, we already knew that. Shamans and medicine people already knew that. But when the scientists said that, yeah, they not lying because it breaks down what you thought. So I went through that and I started to question. I'm like, man, I ate something and my mind and my body feels like I'm in tune with everything. So from that, this is what changed my life. Because I wouldn't say it was the substance that made it spiritual. It was the sequence of events. But it made me say, if I can eat something and my mind and my body can be free from one time because you're not stuck under time under that construct. Two, you have a deep understanding. Three, when you listen to sound or you see the visual of everything, it's very euphoric. So I'm like, if I can do this from eating just a simple fungus that grew like that, what is this mind and body capable of on its own? Like, could I reach this state? Because I always been into like trying to level up, Dragon Ball Z as a kid, I'm trying to be a Saiyan. So I know the style. I know you got to
Like,
train it. You got to hone the skills. It's possible, right? So from that thought, it made me go back and research everything, the religions, spiritual techniques, aliens. It made me go back and because I'm like, okay, I know what this body is potentially capable of just because of the spirits. I didn't see purple elephants. I didn't see what they try to show you when somebody's doing it. I became really aware of myself, and it's like I started to unravel a lot of seeds that were embedded into my consciousness just because of my curiosity, my way of observing things. So that would have been my experience. And then I realized that I wanted to make music. I always been in tune with music. And that was the day that I said, I don't care how long it's gonna take, I will become an MC and I'll master the craft of MCing. And that was like about 19 years ago.
you will be Hokage one day.
You feel me? Had my own personal mission, my personal journey.
Yeah, man. And I've seen a good part, or just from the sidelines and like just keeping up with you on the socials and stuff. I've seen some of it, and like you hearing about people who fucked you over and like how you've handled stuff like that. And then now to see that, like, you did that show you've been posting, and you've been traveling. Your videos look like good quality. You're still putting out music. Like, I can just see that you're not like, you haven't given up and you're only getting better. And that's part of the reason, like, why I'm like, man, I got to get him on here, because not only is he like got some really cool experiences, but two, like, you've never given up, you know. And I don't know what it is about you. Maybe why you haven't given up, or why you know just kept pushing. Like, what did you do every time you had a hurdle? What did your mind tell you?
Well, the crazy thing is, this journey as an artist, but don't really go spoken when you talk to these artists, you don't really tell you this, but it's like you become it might be like what a I ain't trying to get too vulgar, but it might be like what a crackhead feels like. So
You
everybody
can
is
say
trying to
whatever
sell
you
you it.
want.
Everybody is trying to like when you think about the artist, the video dude want to sell you stuff, the promoter trying to sell you stuff, the DJ trying to sell you stuff. the producer trying to sell you stuff, manager trying to take your stuff, the label trying to own your stuff. They really out like you're like sheep to them.
Do,
And then you got
do you think
artists.
it's like that because there's not a lot of money in it? Can
No, well, it depends on what lane you in because the money is print, right? And then, but when you think about like me, I'm in like let's say I'm a conscious artist. Well, the conscious so-called community makes trillions of dollars.
mm,
Gaia TV alone, I mean, they ain't doing nothing with the money. They ain't really making no centers. They just I manifest, right? But they not, but just that alone, they're making money. So the money is out there.
okay.
It's just how you gonna get it. And then in today's day, it's all about building your community. That's why streamers are taking over. That's why podcasts, because people get to see who you are. They get to be attached to you. They get to know who you are, and then you get to build a community upon that. So it's like that's how you even look at things like Playboy Cardi fans, diehard,
Mm,
diehard. So
Swifties.
musicians have not lost the ability to have diehard fans, but it's just because of social media is now becoming the gatekeepers.
Mm,
Your biggest
yeah, it's true.
opponent now is the algorithm, and
Yeah, it is true. That fucking thing is always changing around, bro.
yeah, it's like kids are going to be born with the ability to decode and read algorithms.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only every time something it just happens like that, bro. It's like we're constantly updating. We're like our phones, all these technologies are just external representations of our physical body, of our internal world. So like it's us like even a dollar
Are you
is
worried
a
about
it's a,
AI?
no, not really, because in the sense of like AI, well, you gotta look at what time we at too, right? Like the AI most people worried about. That's not the AI that we dealing with right now. The AI we dealing with is like super data set controllers. They basically like quantum calculators. They like the same thing AI is doing is
Mm.
what the calculator did. The same thing the printing press did. It's just making us able to access and utilize the knowledge faster. And then on top of that, we're going to continue to evolve. And then if you think about artificial intelligence, it already been here. Most of the religions are artificial intelligence.
Mm.
Like artificial intelligence doesn't necessarily like have. Isn't I think AI is a country. It's not pronounced AI, but it's spelled AI. So I think it's a country over there in the Middle East or North Africa or something, or Israel over there, right? So like AI
Wait, are you talking
ain't
about artificial intelligence or are you talking about like the
what what
religion?
I, what I'm saying is AI has already been here.
Oh,
Is
okay.
already the language itself is artificial intelligence. It's a program. It is our so we've already have been, let's say, it already won in a sense of that. Just look at how we're divided, and they show you like traces of this type of information when you like even look at the story of in the Bible, the Tower of Babel, right? The people that was clean, they was cold, they was like they was building. It was Nikola Tesla's. They was building coils and stuff, and they
Mm.
started to build the ladders, signifying they were building themselves up. So what did God say? He said, "Hey man, let's go down there and confuse them, confuse their language, because once you confuse the language, you really you change a whole person. So if a person language, just look at our language. If all our words that start with a B, if you simply change the P to where those B's was, you just unraveled and unfold the whole entire language. So now it will come up with a different combination of words. And
Mm.
then you got to understand like this original language that we had, it basically nurtured and gave just how they tell you think positive, use your affirmations, don't say bad things that you don't wish, you know what I'm saying? That's because the original language, it was a constant reinforcement of our divine connection with the universe, with the mother. It was in. So I'm saying we already been affected by AI, but this AI is it was a matter of time. And then you look at all of us who are here now, it's happening right now because of who we are. And I don't think if we weren't capable of handling it or interacting with it properly, it wouldn't have manifested in this time. But that's just me going into my metaphysical side, right?
Right.
But it, we're going to have new jobs. People will be freed from jobs. Uh, we'll have new issues. We'll have new solutions.
Do you think it's
Like
just
we
like
don't
the
have,
next step in evolution for us?
yeah, because we don't, because a lot of stuff it'll save lives. Like even like there is in these Native American, I know I keep bringing it back to language, but I'm gonna bring it back one time. So in these Native American languages, there are different family groups. What I mean is like English, it has Latin, it has French, it has Gothic, German. So those make up the language group of English. So then you have in these Native American language, 100 and sometimes 150 different family groups. And there's people who are deciphering these languages, but it's taking that one person
Wow.
at least 30 to 40 years just to break down one family group of the language,
Really?
right? Yeah,
That's
so
interesting.
with AI, what took him 30 years would take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna have to share. The problem is racism, bro. And that's what it is. We worried about it taking over. We thinking it's gonna do what we do.
What are you saying?
Like because we have so much issues with division within ourselves.
Right.
The thought of another sentient conscious being making sentient decisions, it just like oh shit. That's the same thing that
Like
colonizers felt.
they might
That's the
be
same thing.
programmed
Mhm.
racist, or like they might
No,
learn racism.
it's our issue with racism.
Gotcha.
So you got to think when people, and then you got to think about this. So what were a lot of the fears of people in the South and during the sense of racism? The black people will get them back. Like there's a sub, even to the sense of there's a subconscious fear that black people will revolt and do the same thing to so-called white people that were done to them.
Hmm.
And so when it comes to AI, we got this, it's the same fear. They're under us. We don't shit, we'll throw the phone away. We'll throw the computer away. We'll spill juice on it. That's somebody grandma in the sense AI world. Hey man, that camera you had back in 2023, that was my great great granddaddy, bro. I don't appreciate how you just did him like. So it's like
Oh shit.
the mind, and then plus that, plus Hollywood.
Like iRobot.
So you get that in Hollywood, and it's because there's a there's horror porn. So we're the type of civilization that'll go to the movies and watch Salt and watch somebody face get ripped off, knowing good damn well if we woke up in there one of them want to play a game, bro, we'll probably shit and die right there. Oh, we're just being in there. We'll just be like, oh fuck, and just out this mental suicide because just how
Yeah.
because it's but we'll go watch that.
Yeah.
We'll have horror games. We have like, and I'm not judging nobody who, but you gotta recognize your mind doesn't it don't waste time determining if something is really happening or not. It takes it in. So with that, when we think about AI, we think it's going to take from us. It's going to hurt us. It's going to, oh, I knew it was coming, right?
Right.
And that's the wrong approach because you got to recognize, man, we're like we're apex, we're divine. We're going to top that. Just like when people was running track, nobody broke those record, and then till that record got broke, people all around the world start breaking that record. We just constantly updating.
Yeah.
It's just what are we gonna do about ourselves? You
The,
know what I'm
the
saying?
amount of information we'll be able to obtain in such a quick amount of time, it might like snowball our growth. Like just be it just might get the ball rolling even quicker.
You played Destiny before?
That's what. Yeah, yeah,
So you know the little robot thing that's floating around just guiding you through the game?
yeah,
Man, so your kid get one of them. That'll cut school down at least 10 years.
yeah. That's what I was like kind of thinking as well. Like the
Even
education,
Iron
knowledge. Of it.
Man had Jarvis.
Yeah, it's true.
He don't need Jarvis. He made Jarvis because he's like, man, I can do more stuff if I can just attack this Time Lord. Because time is, it's an element that we use, but sometimes we find ourselves thinking that it's something that we're in.
Yeah. What's the craziest experience you had with the psychedelics?
Oh man. So I was at a festival. Actually, I performed at a festival. It was in Costa Rica, and like so, this was I think the day after my performance. Now the whole festival was like it was like 4 days, 5 days, right?
Hmm.
And they had this sacred fire burning. Basically, they had this jefe from Mexico that they had him come and and they basically was holding space with this fire. So the entire festival, even before the festival started, they had this fire going. So I'm at the festival, I'm enjoying myself, I'm embracing myself, and then I had, you know, you gotta understand these festivals, man. You can find anything you need from diamond, from DMT to ketamine. You can find anything. I don't necessarily trust to take everything. I don't suggest that you do that. I suggest you bring your own kit. Like if you going
Yeah.
and then know your limitations. Know what you need to do. Like if some people can only be in a controlled space where there's no people because they're open to so much stuff. They use so much energy, music, people, sounds, smells, and they gotta just be in a stable space or they'll get that anxiety. So I got some golden teachers. Now the dude who gave me these golden teachers, he must be like he know what he doing because he told me it was this and with this and how he grew it. I'm just like, oh yeah, this is some A1
What are
stuff. And
those?
I'm like, golden teachers, it's a specific strand of mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah, and those were actually the first ones I ate. Those aren't really, really strong. It's like so like penis envies, those are stronger,
Right.
but golden teachers are perfect. So
What
he
is like
gave them to
silver
me.
cap? Is that
They're there might be ones called silver cap. These mushrooms get all kind of names now, but I just how I rank it is like you got field shrooms. They don't really do nothing. Then you got like golden teachers, where they're very like they're good for beginners. And then you got like extreme ones like penis envies. They're like, man, you never know. 1 gram can feel like 2 grams. 2 grams can feel like one, but two can also feel like four. You never know because they're so potent in there. It's an extreme trip, right? So
that kick your
I
ass
took
type of shit?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you better. It's a teacher, and you have to give thanks, and it's an honoring. It's not even a trip. It's an honoring. It's a
Okay.
ceremony. You have to always
That's
be
interesting.
appreciative. Yeah, you gotta give thanks and ask questions. Just let your intentions be truly known before you dive in, right? So I'm at the festival and I'm just like, I'm enjoying the music. They had tribal music going. They had Taicho, the band there, the electric music band there going. And then I go to this fire. Now I'm about to just walk in the fire. I'm about to walk in the pit around the pit. First, the Hefe came. He don't even speak English. He speaks Spanish. And all he did was look at me when I was about to walk in. And immediately, from him just looking at me, I knew he wanted me to take my shoes off. So I'm like, oh, my bad, my bad. Took my shoes off. I sat around the fire. And then my friend G-Son, I've been with him I've been with him for like I would say the majority of the trip, known him for a couple weeks, really a couple months. We at the fire, they've singing the song and they passing around like certain instruments. They give him the instrument. Now, you gotta say I'm like an hour, 2 hours in my journey. He starts singing the song. And I'm like, man, I didn't know you knew the song. And then it just changed the atmosphere. It just got real surreal. And then this lady who was a part of the Hefe, the shaman's crew, because he got people who watch the fire, people who there's a lot of people who were taking medicine there. So it was even people who were on ayahuasca in the festival, and they were going through their journey, you know what I'm saying, with the Hefe.
Mm.
So this girl, she just falls down and she just like onto her knees, like with her hands in like begging position. And she just started like looking into the fire and she just started crying, bro. And she started like crying so hard. And she was speaking Spanish, so I didn't understand her. So I asked G-Son, like, I'm like, what's going on, G-Son? Why is she crying? And she's like, he said she was crying for the fire and how much it's done for humanity and how much it continues to burn and be there for us and how much even it tends to cleanse our spirit because the fire not only burns physical things away, but it burns away the illusions. It burns away the falsehoods. So I started looking to the fire
Damn.
and, I've been stressed. Life is stressful for a man. Life is stressful and I'm just trying to figure myself out. Got this big performance. I'm all the way in another country. I started looking in the fire and I just feel all of that pain, all of the negativity pulling out of my body. And I started crying. I joined in with her crying to the fire. Changed my life, bro. Changed my life. It
Well,
made me realize these elements, like they're here. And not only they have their external form that burns, but there is a form of that element within us that we can tap into. So it just really opened, it really cleansed me. It really like it brought more appreciative of where I'm at. Cause you're not truly alone. The breath is here. The
right.
water is here. The water don't care if you Darth Vader or if you a baby. You can drink it. It's gonna do what it do.
So you grow a lot from these experiences. They teach you a lot. And then you said when we first started that music, by doing music, you've grown a lot. Is there any way the two tie in together?
Oh yeah, because
Do they
the
like feed each
sound.
other?
Well, just take it back to where I told you how like what America promised. That's why it's because America's a company, right? Got a president and a vice president. Although this company has done so well that other countries have decided to form their own companies. That's the first World War, right? Hey, all these kings, they making all these kings. Hey, y'all got to stop being kings, bro. We want a democracy. Y'all talking about kings, y'all, inbred. Y'all crazy as hell. We don't want that no more. And that's because America sold them that program. But once they stripped us of our culture, we have nothing. And then you gotta think about being a black man. Look at me as a black man in America, bro. I don't speak my native tongue. Don't know what that might be. I don't speak. I don't have uh, generations of wealth. I don't even know my. If you time your great grandmother times 10, I can't tell you who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you gotta see what we deal with. Like I don't know if you watched the movie They Clone Tyrone, but you gotta go watch that if you haven't watched that, and you'll see that these projects in the ghetto they call them projects because that's simply what they are. They're projects, and they do a lot of experiment. They started experimentation with the crack. They were afraid that a black messiah is what they called it. J. Edgar Hoover, he was afraid that a black messiah would arose because he just got done wiping out JFK, all of them. I ain't say he wiped JFK, but they took them off. They took Martin Luther King off. They took Malcolm X off. They
Mm.
was taking people out. They're like, y'all gotta get the 60s, late 60s. They're like, y'all gotta go. And then right after that, they start drugging people and doing experiments on people. So then they introduce serial killers. All right. So you understand, growing up, I've lost all identity of who I am, but I have to say this is who I was. That's what hip hop is. You gotta people like to say when hip hop came or what hip hop is, but they never ask the question of why hip hop is. Now you gotta understand hip hop itself as a consciousness or a culture or a state of mind, like because it's technically a culture that went to the United Nations and got it basically acknowledged to be a culture. But let's just look at it as a collective consciousness. Hip hop is a collective consciousness. This kind of collective consciousness don't it only manifests in a period in time where the people have been stripped of everything, because what hip hop does is it gives them a tool to recreate who they are. That's why the first thing on this, my name, Meta. I'm Meta from St. Pete. I'm metaphysic. I'm a spiritual tech. You know what I'm saying? I use words and bend time to express the divine within, right? So it's like, or my name is Lil Bob Killer. I'm from 34th and 77. Like it just gives you the first thing you do is you got to name yourself. And then once you
Mm.
name yourself, the nine elements which make up hip hop are tools in which you can use to express yourself. You got the breaking, MCing, DJing, b-boying. Then you got the other elements: street fashion, street knowledge, street entrepreneurism, street language. So each one of these nine elements are give you the ability to uniquely express who you are and not what somebody tell you are. That's why hip hop is not just a black thing. It manifested in the ghettos because in the ghettos are the projects. They have everybody there. They experimenting that. You got to remember, they waiting for like a LeBron to pop up out of there, grab them, take them out of there. Yeah, yeah, put them there. Like they experimenting. They switching up drugs. You go to the corner stores. These have so much chemical. That's when the scientists don't want to test on the monkeys. They like, we really need to see how these things affect humans. So they put them in like the sweet juice, the juicy juice, the candy, or the hair product. They'll put it in the store and let you get it. Well, so it's like they want to do that. So with hip hop, the music, it allowed me to recreate who I was. Okay, forget about that, all that stuff in the past. It's crazy that you trying to read things in the past, newly translated, but if you pick up a book from about 300 years ago, some of the S's was F's, just like the Shakespearean, you won't be able to read none of that. And it's English. It's in English, but you won't even be able to read any of it. So forget all of that. Forget all I had to let go all of that. And I'm like, I'm going to recreate who I am. And I'm going if my ancestors were able to take sand and build pyramids, what you think I'm capable of doing? In a time where internet, the time where I have access to all these different sounds, the time where I can tap in, I can go different places in the world. I know what's going on over there. I can go over there for a little while. So the music really has been a spiritual tool for me in the sense of hip hop because a lot of people don't acknowledge that hip hop is a spiritual culture. It's just been commercialized. It's been like what everything happens. They get took and they make a GMO version of it, and then they sell the GMO version to the public.
Right.
Fruits are spiritual. Every spiritual book, what happened? The people ain't know nothing. They pimped up on this fruit tree, ate the fruit, boom, knew everything. What do? They make GMO fruit. Get your wax apples. So you see, so the same thing they did with hip hop, they did with everything. Every good thing has been GMO.
Yeah. Once the money's in there and someone sees money, they're gonna figure out how to, you know, like I keep saying, cookie cutter it, how to streamline it. You know.
Yeah, they sell products through it. Commercialized music are the best marketing agencies. And
So, oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
cut
you
you off.
good, you good. No, you good, brother. Go ahead.
Oh shit, I lost my train of thought. um. So what you were saying was, so you learn to scrap all that. Like you're like, all right, scrap all that. If someone can build a pyramid out of sand, or my ancestors, what do you think I'm capable of, right? I think that mindset is so important, but yet, sadly, it's like so like far and few between. Like there's not a lot of people who think like that. Most people think that they are doomed to their disposition, right? So being born in like an area of poverty or project or trailer park, or not a lot of I guess you could say opportunity around you. It kind of programs, I feel like, and this is my opinion, it programs most people to think that that's all they're gonna get, and that it's like all they're predetermined to get, rather than having the mindset of like, well, shit, you know, someone could build a pyramid out of sand. You know, what do you think I'm capable of? Like, where can I manifest? What can I get around? Where can I start building? What are my tools? You know, and I think in my head, I think that's a really good outlook. Like the fact that you put that together and your brain told you that one day, like you had like a, what'd you say earlier? What'd you call it? Like a eureka moment?
Yeah, those man, you got to start taking notes of them eureka moments, man, because those what people live for. It's
A
just
lot.
understanding. It's bringing clarity to something that it gives you the same feeling you get when you peeing when you've been having to pee for a long time and you finally go pee. You
Yeah,
get relief. You're like, oh man,
it's kind of
ah,
like a lot of people like also too, man. Like they ignore those moments because they got to get in the next TikTok video or they got to get, you know what I mean? They don't let it. It's almost like a lot of times I feel like society doesn't allow shit to sink in because it's moving so fast and there's so much flashy lights in front of you. You know? Have you ever been to Vegas?
no, I haven't. I flew over Vegas before, but I haven't been to Vegas.
If you go to Vegas, a lot of people love Vegas, right? It's super hype. You know, there's a lot of shit to do. But when I was there, bro, I kind of like, well, I've been there a few times, but when I've been there, like, I feel like it's just like super distracting. Like, everything around you is flashy, everything around you is loud, everything around you is like just trying to grab your attention. It makes it kind of hard to like, it's different than being out in the mountains and it's quiet and you're like looking around and taking it in. You know what I mean? You got time to think, you got time to breathe, you got time to like feel the air, you know? And I feel like that's our society today is more like Vegas and a reason why I say that too is a personal experience. I flew out to like the Grand Canyon one time and stayed in a tent, and then I went over to like Zion out in the and camped in the backwoods and stayed in a tent. And I went from doing like 4 nights, I think, of doing that out in the middle of nowhere, complete pitch black darkness, and to like going to Vegas. And I just remember that like mental adjustment, like the environment was just so like so off. It was weird. Like it was almost like a punch in the face, just from adapting to 4 nights in the complete darkness and quiet and nature to like flashy lights everywhere, people handing you cards with naked girls on them with phone numbers, to like people trying to, hey, come over here, come over here. Are you interested in this? And someone over here is like dancing with a, you know, like a guitar case open, and then you got signs everywhere and people telling you about deals anywhere. Hey, jump in the limo. I can get you free beer. We'll take you anywhere you want. Like it's I feel like it's almost like pop-ups everywhere in today's society. It's almost like living in pop-ups.
Well, it's just you have to even look at like some of the origin points of it. So just think of it like this: from I would say the end of the 1800s, so like the 1890s, to even about to basically 1975, some of the biggest professions were masons. They were builders. They were stone masons. They were building blocks. They were creating cities, right?
Right.
And each one of these cities were created by masons. Now, Mason, I'm not against for, although they know what they do. I know the score. I ain't gotta join your little book club to understand life and damn, y'all bullshit, right? But
Mm.
anyways, but they study the hermetic laws. They study so many different levels of ritual psychology. They understand uh, what certain architectures do, the way they even design the cities. So you look at one of their symbols is what? The pentagram, right?
Yep.
So when you think about New York City, the five boroughs, what do they call the five boroughs? They call the five boroughs the Big Apple. When you cut an apple in half and you look inside, it has five C's in the form of a pentagram. That's why in their text, their books, the apple has always been symbolized as the pentagram. So the Big Apple is the big pentagram. and how it was and it was designed and architected by masons. The way they build it, so the way they build these structures, they're cycling and ciphering the energy. They're moving the energy. Some of these areas, like Central Park, that's bro. If you dig deep enough, you'll find graves. You'll find bodies. That was they built that over people. They killed those people and built that park over where those people are. And that's a lot of areas. And then you look at the deserts. When you even think about the Middle East, look what's going on over there. It's so fiery. All because they worship fire god Yah. You know what I'm saying? The Hebrew symbol is the flame, right? They worship the fire. So it's all deserts. It's all just burnt. All the nature has been gone. So when you look at Vegas, it's really a decayed area. I mean, it's beautiful. You got some areas with some trees and some grass too, but it's really a desert. And then like this area and how they constructed it, and once they constructed it, the people who really commissioned the construction of it was into the mafia. So they made it an area of made so much consumerism, gambling. Basically the Suginis, the
It's the
Suginis.
Sin City too, right? That's what they call it. City.
Yeah, so all of the negative, it's like when you watch One Piece or you watch a pirate movie, they always got this pirate city, and then that city is lawless, right? Like you can be robbed. There's pirates who run that city. That's their home base. So, and you gotta remember, these are pirates who are docked. They dock the ships, but they still practice the law of piracy. That's why the maritime law is trumps the law of the land. That's why these judges or in these courtrooms. Once you go in the courtroom, you're above ship. And like it's all these laws. These are pirates. These are this is the best way to explain them. These are savages who became butlers and then who became initiated and then became pirates. So they're like, but and then you just even look at the Masons. They always put a little apron on and shit. These niggas butlers, but they butlers basically, right? And so but they were pirates because you think about all of the export and transport of the in the 1700s to late 1900s. It was all through the shipping ports, all through the docks. So these are pirates. So when you go to a pirate city, the energy is there. It's a dark. It's a you got usually in every city you get a downtown, and in that downtown area, that's where the vortex is at its lowest point. That's why so much goes down in downtown. But Las Vegas is like a city. It's like everywhere in Las Vegas is downtown. And they know what they're doing. They know psychology from the lights, from the gambling, from the way the buildings are structured. They know what's going on. They know it's the same thing when you go out of the country and you only stay in a tourist spot.
Mm-hmm.
Those locals know what's going on, and they gonna get your money, American. They gonna get they know. So it is even designed. It's safe a little bit. It's way safer to be in those tourist areas.
Yeah, for
They're
sure.
selling you stuff. They'll give you something to sell. So it's the same is the level of psychology and marketing that they if you don't know if you ever seen that movie in the 80s called They Live with the
No, I haven't
dude.
seen that.
You gotta watch it. So he basically put on these glasses and he was able to see everything for what it was. So he was looking at billboard signs. So the billboard sign would be like a sandwich in a family or something. But when he put the glasses on, it says reproduce, consume, buy now. And like it just so it's basically he was able to start seeing things of what they were doing, and you'll see that like that's why like you can't drive nowhere. Try not to read for a week. Say I'm not gonna read nothing for a week. Even if you can, there's always
Like
signs.
you mean okay? Yeah, I was gonna say like anything.
Yeah, no letters, no words. No, you're not reading. You're not doing it. You can. The moment
Yeah,
you go out the house, you're gonna get directed. Then if you go into a public area, there's advertisement, there's colors, red, the black and red. He's a badass. He's a loose cannon. The blue and white. Oh, he's neutral, he's holy. Facebook, they blue and white. It's saying anybody can use me. And then look, they don't use a capital F because a capital F is strong, right? It's fuck, right? But the lowercase f is friendly. You see? So, and then YouTube, watch now, Red, it's hot here, man. You gotta remember, YouTube's origins came from the people, the after Janet Jackson went through her ritual at the Super Bowl when she was exposed by Justin Timberlake. People were trying to look up that video. So the creators created YouTube because of that. Don't quote me 100%, but it's something like that nature. So
Wow.
YouTube is red in a pentagram, and red in a triangle. When you think about bathing suits, when you think about yoga pants or girls in yoga pants, what is the most? It's the triangle. It's that lower, it's that downward triangle that shows off her basically her area, right?
Right.
So that red plus that triangle, it just and then who mostly use YouTube? More men and boys use YouTube than women. Women use YouTube, but so they know that shapes, colors, and sounds can manipulate us. And we know that's true because if that wasn't true, they couldn't put us under the basically when you about to go surgery. If that wasn't true, they couldn't give us a element, which is a shape, sound, and color because it's physical material. They couldn't give it to us and then do nothing. You couldn't show a bull a red, like the bull just chilling. You'd hold up the red shit. Now he mad as hell. So you can't stop yourself from being influenced or being hypnotized. Like people say, you can't hypnotize me. There's so many levels of of hypnosis. Yes, you got people who can run up on you, put you under, but you got people who can work you for weeks. They don't even have to meet you. They can just really work you from knowing your social media. Or you walk into the mall, you go to any of these government buildings. These government buildings are emitting like this white noise, basically trying to keep people away from there who aren't there for an actual reason. So like trying to keep that's why the lawn be so beautiful, or they're like it's really emitting this. And then you go to the mall, they got this white noise that's enticing you to want to buy. You just feel good. You're like, I'm trying to buy. Look at this outfit. Oh, look at this. So it just so when you go to a place like Vegas, I know that was long-winded. The Vegas has been designed to throw you off guard and then siphon you. You have strong ones of us. You got us who are strong, that who can, and you got us who are strong, and you got us who are masters who can go into any environment in any space and do that work. But then you have some of us who can adjust to certain areas. Like the locals aren't out of norm as necessarily. It's like going to Chicago. It's negative 30 degrees to us from Florida. That man, it's cold to them. They might have on one jacket and then just be casually walking. You feel like your arms about to fall off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely conditioning. They do definitely take. That is like what you're explaining is definitely like a lot of marketing strategy. The colors, like the McDonald's sign, is yellow. It's proven this color yellow makes you hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the color red is like, oh, it's hot here. It's a deal. It's flashing. Get it while it's
Mm-hmm.
hot. And
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, like we're in a country of consumerism. That's for damn sure. Um, Shit, I wanted to get into some of the rap stuff, but my phone is like dying. I don't know how much longer I got. Let me see.
Shoot, we can always do a part two.
Yeah, I mean, if you're down for that, we could save the part two for some of the rap stuff and get
Yeah,
into like
definitely.
get into some of the experiences and hurdles you've had to jump. I like that we went down the spiritual route though. I don't think I've done an episode like that yet. And you
Uh,
explaining like the signs you see and what you picked up from it. When you're like
man,
really deep on like a trip, like really deep, what is your brain saying?
my brain, it's like,
Like you're not
it's,
freaking out, you trying to calm yourself down or
well, I've learned to when now when I'm starting to go, so basically when I'm having an anxiety attack, that's what a bad trip is. Bad trip is basically an anxiety attack. I recognize that something internal is off with me, and you got to breathe through it. Like even when you take ayahuasca, taking ayahuasca, you don't walk in the park. Like when you first drink it, first of all, it's horrible. Give it thanks to the plant, the grandmother medicine, but it's horrible. And then you got to hold it in, and then you can't but the whole time it's telling you it wants you to project it. Like everything in your body is saying project this, and then you can't drink water because once the water mixes with it, you immediately purge. But once the medicine, so you have to like breathe through it, and then once the medicine starts to work, man, it's hard to put words on the experience that you go through, even as far as emotional, especially if you've been through some emotional trauma. A lot of times those traumas start to rise to the surface to give you an opportunity to let it go or to find clarity within it because it'll define who you are.
Hmm.
My whole life led me to this. I wouldn't change nothing about me, bro. All the pain, all the struggle, I wouldn't change nothing about it because it's who I am today, and I'm constantly growing. So like bad trips for me ain't a bad trip. It's just when you gotta relax. Like it's gonna get dark, and then if it get, then you talk about me. I'm like as far as even DMT, I'm like 50 journeys, almost 50 to 60 journeys in. I done
Holy
had some
fuck.
yeah, I done had some experiences where it's just like, okay, the best way I can explain this one experience, I had the diamond DMT, blast off, put it in the bowl, boom, I gone. Close my eyes, I started to see these bubbles, but these bubbles were like spiders. So
Oh,
it was extremely creepy. It was extremely creepy. And at first I started to lose my shit. But what I was taught by my teacher is that this maxim, no matter where you are, this maxim resonates at the deepest level of our consciousness, which is all itself. Because everything that you see, interact with, no matter where you want to place it within the all, is a reflection of yourself. So when you meet these demons, they're mirroring and then they're dancing with you. So you, oh shit, yeah, oh shit, yeah. Or you, I
like
love you.
like the mind
Oh,
playing tricks on itself.
the mind, yeah, well, is not even the mind playing tricks all the time because there are entities on world, off world, in time, outside of time. They do exist, and you have jinns, you have spirits who, because even a demon it just means a spirit without a vessel. It's not necessarily a evil being, but through religion, Christianity, they use that word to describe like Bethazar or something like Hornhead, got you afraid of cows and shit, right? So they use so you can interact with spirits and go through journeys and stuff like that, but a lot of times they they design the system to where we give up our power and we give up our
Hmm.
understanding, and through that we allow the fear or that to take over. But man,
Isn't
you're gonna have dark nights just as much as you're gonna have bright days.
isn't it weird how kids like are scared of monsters and like the dark, but you never taught them that. You know what I mean? Like my daughter, she doesn't want to go in a dark room, and I can understand that. Like you don't feel safe, or you can't, you're not aware of what's around you. It takes away like your your sense. But like, isn't it weird that like they fear monsters
It's the depths, the deep depths of
like
their
in
imagination in the dark. They can see more. You gotta remember they fresh from the divine, and when they was in that womb, they was super sentient with like seeing in the dark.
mm-hmm.
So when they're in a dark space, their imagination takes forms, and even though they might not have seen monsters, they might not know this monster and that monster, the DNA records information. So even the experiences that you experience when you watch Friday the 13th, You know, when it came out, you know, shit was cold, right? I was there. I seen it. So, but the experience embedded into your DNA, and then when you recreated yourself through your with your woman, but when you recreated yourself through her, that because when you understand when a man has a child, that woman herself is a as below version of the as above universe. The same thing as Earth. The Earth has a womb. We're inside of it. We're living. The universe created us. So this woman herself is a universe. So when you put your soul, your seed in her, it reproduces another version, you know, and then she a girl too. So you definitely got the upgrade version because she has a womb now. She got a hypercube in her lower area and don't know how to even use it. It just worked, right?
Right.
But when it's still it took the essence of all your DNA because when you create a baby, every cell in your body is doing the spirit bomb. When you about to do the deed, your thing become Goku.
Dude,
And,
suck it up.
and it's like I need this, I need the power of Earth. And then everybody on Earth, all your cells, they put them hands up. And then you take all of that spirit essence and that DNA, that code, because you're not gonna get it from a cell that wasn't there. So all those cells experience what you experience, right?
Right.
So she, the fear has already been implanted in her because it was implanted in you and also in her mother. You might have watched a movie, or the mother might have even been have women like to watch very dark things. You know, they
Yeah,
like
they do.
crime horror movies, murder scenes and stuff. They like they like to watch those stuff. So it's already there. It's just it ain't about you can't really teach somebody something. They can only basically unlock it within themselves. So it's all the information is there, and then that's just natural instinct. Because if we was in the wild, in the dark, man, and especially remember back in the well, we don't remember, but first let's say first humans, right?
Yeah.
It was formidable foes out there in the wild, and they can see good in the dark. They got lions, bears, all these animals, snakes, all these animals see good in the dark. You don't. So what's that? Oh snap! Oh, so it's a her defense mechanism. It's the kids' defense mechanism in their imagination protecting them. It's training them to be aware. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
deep down DNA taking care of them.
yeah. It's like, man, you gotta be out here thinking. Yeah, and then they can because they so fresh. They ain't been like contaminated or seasoned. They see things that aren't there. So we come in there, it ain't nothing, but they looking right at it. They looking. They're the most potent. It's like I don't know if you watched the Twilight series, but the vampires when they were kids, they were extremely strong. Or no, I think it was Interview with the Vampire. The kids, they're extremely powerful, strong, but they can't control that. That's why it's bad for them to be a vampire when they're a kid because they never grow out of that. So it's kind of in a positive reverse. These babies are the stronger ones of us. So when they come out of the womb, man, they still seeing things being. It's like Inception, literally. The fucking road in Doctor Strange, the roads are forming as they go. They're like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's just
So, yeah.
weird how like they're like programmed to be like aware of like monsters. Like it's not like I sat down and said, "Hey baby, like don't go in that dark room. There's monsters under your bed, or there's a monster in your closet, or there's like a beast with sharp teeth and claws and horns." It's like no, but what you said makes sense. Like they're expressing their imagination and
Yeah,
maybe seeing like a dark room where they feel vulnerable. It puts them down a fearful, imagination line.
and it's also their intuition too. And then even when you think about just think about paranormal activities, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you think about paranormal activities, it's always going on with a woman. Like the exorcist or anything, like
Oh
it's
shit.
because the woman has literally. I'm gonna get deep. So the woman has a womb, and that womb. So women are constantly followed by spirits. Spirits follow women all the time. Like, and then they yearn for a day to be born. You know, yeah, malevolent ones and benevolent ones, and you have neutral ones. Most of the time, the ones who are born, they might have had certain intentions before they wanted to be reborn, but once they go through the birthing process, it wipes them clean. So it all becomes a subconscious, and they don't even know how they got here. They just crying again. Next thing you know, you watching Looney Tunes, eating cereal and shit. It's Christmas, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm a person. And then you back at it again. Some of us,
This is
they
why they're
call it.
emotional. Is that what you're
Uh,
saying?
nah, that's not necessarily why they're emotional. It's just they're they're constantly interacting with that. Like they're even like in some of those older traditions in, let's say, in Sudan, where they have these czar cultures where these women, when they go through their marriage ritual, first they start to twerk. Like that's even like the origins of twerking. The origins of twerking, they start to shake that lower area of the body, which brings that heat, which it basically they're arousing that feminine energy that lies dormant within them. Like I think the Hindu culture, Eastern culture call it the Kundalini. So they're arousing it, and then they're basically starting to emit this light, and this light is in transit. And what they're trying to do is these mothers, these grandmothers who are around in the ritual, in the ceremony. That's why even a lot of the when you used to get married, you had to do the deed right there in front of them. So they're trying to bring these big spirits in. They don't want the dude from 300 can't hold up the spear. They want a Shaquille. They want a Shaquille O'Neal or a Ford. They want a big spirit to be born. So they like even that's why like even the origins of arranged marriages, the grandmothers, because we come from a matriarchal society, not a patriarchal. We come from where the highest decisions were made by the women of those groups. So these grandmas would have arranged these marriages. They would say this baby finna be born on this day, and then we can and they're looking at these stars. Then they're like, oh yeah, it's time. Because when you're born under a certain star, certain zodiac, and they're trying to pull that energy. So these women, these wombs are doorways, and so there's constantly spirits and things following them. So it's not that the spirits ain't there, it's rather you can see them, interact with them, whether they're malevolent or benevolent, even for a child. Those imaginary friends could be that limo guy. And it's like, hey man, why you done came here, bro? You shouldn't have. And they talking to him, spending time with him, and then like, all right, I guess you made your decision, and then now the imaginary friend gone. Those ain't always just in their head.
You think they're like real existing spirits?
Oh, definitely, we exist. We're a spirit in this body. That's why, like, when the spirit leaves his body, you've been to a funeral. That man, that ain't him. That ain't your uncle, your granddaddy, or your mom. That ain't her. I mean, it's her, but that body, that's not when she was fully animated.
That's
That's why,
just
like,
the vessel.
yeah, is you see it, it starts to turn back into material to be absorbed back into the earth for something alive to nurture off of it. Lion King, Circle of Life, right? Is just so that vessel is was crafted for your spirit
So
because these.
I had a friend that I worked with a long time ago, and he explained things like this because he was like pretty Christian, but he was also kind of like you, like he liked to go to festivals, he liked psychedelic like spiritual experiences and stuff. But one thing he explained to me, and I'm gonna butcher it, and it's probably gonna sound like shit, but the gist of it is like energy doesn't go anywhere, like energy doesn't disappear. You know what I mean? And we're made of stardust. Like we have stardust in our beings. So he was explaining that like when you die, even though the body, goes back to the earth and recycles, the spirit has to go somewhere, you know, because it's an energy source. It's energy. So it's just a matter of where that energy ends up is what he was saying when you pass.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Because the energy, it doesn't cease to exist. You know, what I'm saying, you no matter how many times you what they call it when you cut it up. Like if it was dope. How many times you cut the energy up, it exists. The water and all of that, the cells, the who we are. And then depending on how collect or how conscious that energy, like that energy like gets itself to like a human, it becomes supremely conscious of its existence and in the proper conditions. Or if it's like even when you dream, you die there. You leave this world, you go somewhere else. So truly, you need to learn how to die before you die, actually. And what I'm saying is leave the body. Like a lot of us are hermetically sealed in these bodies. Then you have some people who can go out of the body, who can have out of body experiences. You know what I'm saying? So you, and then you have us, some of us who are very lucid. And being lucid, if you're a master lucid dreamer, you can live in a dream for years. So let's say you go to sleep today at like 9 p.m.
Mhm.
and you set your alarm clock to wake up at 7 a.m. If you were a master lucid dreamer, from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. could be an entire lifetime. You can have a whole family in the dream, friends. If the dream be real, feel real. Because what is real? Real is just our brain picking up signals from our senses. But just because if your brain can't pick up the senses, that don't make it less real or not real. So when you go, you can spend a whole entire life in a dream, and that's why like a lot of the stories or the ancient knowledge says that we're within a dream, in a dream right now. So and in these different dreams, once you begin to awaken in those dreams, become fully conscious within those dreams, it folds over into this dream, you know, or this world. So the energy does it. You don't like you might lose this physical body, which is precious because it was perfectly crafted for you. Because if it wasn't, you see examples of when the body and the spirit don't mold right. That's when you get the people who eat people, the people who touch kids, you know, the diabolical. The spirit didn't mold right to the body, right?
Mhm.
So these are vessels, yes, they're animal too. Like if you just take the conscious out of this body, it'll just wanna fuck, fight, and eat things. It just that's what it is. It'd be a zombie, not necessarily decaying though. Like when they show us zombies and they decay, but then when you just think about a zombie's consciousness, they're just a being of senses that's craving and wants to eat something to replenish it. It doesn't care what it is. So once you like, if you hide from the zombie and they hear you, it's like, now it's coming your way. That's these human bodies without our consciousness because we don't have instincts. Like an animal is the body and instinct. So like it follows, it's coded. But us as humans, we gave up our instincts for our consciousness, for our to have our free consciousness. So we gave up its instinct. So we this once this body loses the conscious, it's a zombie basically. So it's like your spirit, and then if you develop your spirit, because some of us are born soulless or with small souls or big souls. You got some people with a big soul. Some people's soul so big they can't live here. They die young. I hate to say it like that.
Like their
Or they
chakra
just yeah,
together.
it's too big. Then you got some with their spirit level is their spirit energy is so low that they are able to be just go to work, play in the matrix, and just be a program. There ain't nothing really there, but there's always potential for to raise your vibration, to raise your spirit, to become more conscious of your spirit and what that is outside of the body. So like a lot of us who go into death horribly, like sick, really doped up on medicine, in extreme pain, fear. Oh man, I'm about to die. Oh, regret. I should have did it. You know, so a lot of us go into that death. I watched this monk. It was a Buddhist monk or some kind of monk. I promise you. He had all his monk friends. He was a master. It's on YouTube. I'll send you the video when we go. He had all the masters around, other Buddhist masters, his disciples around him, and he was standing there. He did his prayers. They was around him, and then he laid down and he died.
That's
Nothing
it.
killed him. He wasn't screaming, bro. He laid down and he died. They prayed over him, put his body in the casket and buried him.
Hmm.
Like that's why even Tupac say a real G choose the way he go out, but a real master, they can die. It's your death is your last performance. It's your great. It's the closing of your show. So you should do it no matter what condition. So if you're in pain, go out with honor. You know what I'm saying? Never go out with fear. Never. Don't live a life. If you breathing right now and then you feel like you might got some regrets, you need to go ahead and go and get that up. Get rid of that because that's the fear. That's why we fear the death. That's why we fear the age. But gracefully, as we get older, our bodies become weaker, but our spirit becomes stronger.
I feel like we
And
fear the unknown, and death
mm,
is very unknown. You know,
yeah, and it's pirates around it too. Like they
pirates.
they basically surrounded it. Like we afraid of that, man. They even go to a fiery hell. What would be the need of pain? That's just a person who don't think pain all the way through. Pain is really just a alert to the body that you need to move or something is wrong. But if you no longer have a body, and then what is your spirit? Your spirit is energy, chi, the fire, the prana is so you go to a fire and what you think fire get burned by fire? It just becomes more of the fire. But what is being burned, all the illusions, the falsehood, all those things of negativity. But they use it to be kings here to us. We be a dog, we only get the crumbs from the master table this life, and maybe in the next life we'll be in a better position. But then when you think of like a heaven, bro, that sounds like a Twilight Zone utopia trap. How long of eternity? What you gonna do there? And it's not your space, it's somebody else's space. And
Yeah,
then they're very judgmental of who they let in this club. And then they the one who created everybody and the club in the first place. So the club ain't even got to be small. Like there could be a door when you go into heaven, it just cleanse you. So like even if you was uh, Jeffrey Dahmer, right? You walk through the heaven door, just man, I see my son, my child. You had a horrible life. You lost your mind. You was born inbred, or you was psychological. The experiment. It was the Cheetos and I don't know, but I fucked you up. Let me cleanse you out rather than now I gotta suffer because something that was all knowing knew I was gonna do this. So why we playing this game? Like, it don't matter what I do at that point because so that's why none of that way of thinking about death is very troublesome to a confused innocent spirit trying to find himself. But understanding that you can exist in a world that you created or a world that collectively you might have created with others, and y'all can exist in those spaces.
I feel like that's what we're eventually developing into humans is under. I think there's a whole nother dimension we don't see. We're
We
not
can at
ready.
least agree to this too, because we can at least agree to this too, because we go to sleep and we be somewhere else doing all kind of other things, and we be here, and then we see people coming here all the time, and people leaving here. Like where the kids are being born here, they coming from somewhere. So we can at least agree that there's two spaces. So and then if we just look at
Yeah, that's a good point.
multiple cases, yeah, it's probably it's probably multiple spaces that you can go to and exist in, or you might even hear. You probably reboot. All right, I ain't gonna do the future technology thing. I'm gonna reboot back in the cowboy days, or back in the we just was out there in the jungle. Like we can be choosing. Like the Dalai Lama is technically right, a professional reincarnator. He's supposed to be the same person, the avatar. So you got people reincarnating on autopilot, and then you got people who are very sentient of that process, masters it, and is extending their development of and their journey of life. Old souls, right?
Oh yeah. Well, hey, bro, not to cut it off, and I'm glad we got pretty deep on this, but my phone's about to die.
Same.
But I appreciate your time, man. And like I said, I still got these shoes. I'll get them to you one day this century.
No, I feel it. Hey, divine timing, bro. I'm waiting. I ain't in no rush.
Yeah, they'll be fresh for you. Trust me, you'll like them.
I already know.
The Nas case, but I appreciate your time, yeah, and maybe we can schedule a part 2, and we'll get more into the music shit and
Oh yeah, I got you.
kind of how that's going and how that's growing. I
Yeah, I
always think,
got you. I'll tell you the up and downs and stuff, and also what I got new coming up and all that good jazz.
oh fuck yeah. Well, you know me, I'm in tune, bro. I'm watching, and I try to share and spread the love. So,
Always been there, bro. Day one type.
oh for sure, I vibed with it. But, man, you be safe, and I'll catch up with you soon.
All right, brother.
See you.
All right, hold this.
I think the podcast is fucking sick. If you're listening to it and you're like, I don't know if I want to listen to the next episode of this podcast, you're probably a bitch ass. You need to listen to the next episode of this podcast and keep listening to it. Because my friends down here are trying to make shit happen. And we're going to make some shit happen.